started this whole process because I knew the challenges that LeGrand would come into contact with trying to get around a house, trying to function in a house with his handicapping condition that he has right now. I grew up with a dad that was handicapped, and we came into so many challenges, wider doorways and stairs and, not being able to reach certain things, and I just know all about those things. And when I found out about the extreme home makeover coming to Northwest Arkansas, I had 2 days before the deadline, and so I decided to fill out all the application and try to get ABC to come here and build a house for them, because they're so deserving of it. One, they're such great people. To LeGrand, when he signed up for the military, he had no idea, the turn his life would take. And I just knew that they needed that. They needed a house. They needed a place to be able to entertain people, to welcome people, to just to be able to live comfortably, with the way his body is now. So they're doing great. He has such a great attitude. I love his spirit. I always have. He has just such a quiet spirit, quiet strength, quiet courage. Just a great person.
Well, they lived, when they were here in Northwest Arkansas, before LeGrand decided to go back into the military, they lived across the street from us in a rented house. And the job he was in, they were real close to being able to hopefully purchase their own house. And I remember, the struggle that Carrie and LeGrand both went through, just knowing that this was kind of going to alter their plans. They were going to buy a house in this area, but he knew that being shipped out, that wasn't the right thing to do. But they were going to do their term and then come back here and build a house and resume his job doing graphic design and stuff. And then he went away, and he went away, like Julie said, a quiet, reserved guy. But man, he was such a large man, without ever saying a word, without ever being animated. He was just a rock. And seeing them, they've been back for a few visits. Seeing him on the visits, he is very much the LeGrand that we remember. But he's the LeGrand we remember out loud. He talks more now than I've ever heard him talk. He pours into people every second that he gets to be around them. And Carrie was always the one that did that before. She was the one that always had people over, cooked, loved to have people come and stay with them and just dine with them and stuff. And now LeGrand is equally out there and wanting to be with people. This has not dampened him at all. This has turned him up on full blast. And I know just from the times we've been around him and the stories we've heard, he is pouring himself and his spirit into people around him all the time. And Julie, just every time we watch the show, it's like, oh man, they could really use that. They could really use that. And man, it'd be so awesome if all that came true.
Like you said, when he left, he was a very quiet man, but you knew that he had a great amount of inner strength. And to go off to Afghanistan, he had to have a tremendous amount of courage.
He was very resolved in his decision. He wasn't talked into it. This is something that came up from just inside of him, and he carried it through. And we heard him talk at church on one of his trips home, and he just went on and on about how thankful he was for the condition he was in, because he can see how it's brought himself out even more. And how do you be thankful for that? And
Well, and I think that, a lot of people would be bitter. I mean, even my own dad was bitter, but it's the choice you make. And he's chosen not to be bitter.
he's chosen to be better, way better.
Well, and he's so funny now because he talks all the time. When before you had to just drag it out of him. But now he talks all the time, and he tells his story over and over again to anybody who'll listen. I mean, even if you don't want to listen, he'll tell you. And people are so blessed, from the telling of it. Our youngest daughter got to go down to San Antonio. I guess it was a year ago, March. A year ago, yeah. And that's when he was still in the beginning stages of healing. And I tell you what, she was 15 at the time and has never been the same since then.
Yeah, and on one of their visits home, it was neat to watch the two of them pick up where they left off.
Yeah.
And just kind of sit in the back and watch their conversation. And I know a great house and a great environment and a place to invite people to and a place to have people come and feel at home. It'll be great. It'll be a great benefit for any community that they land in, and we're just so anxious for them to come back to Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, we miss them so much. Carrie with her boisterous, happy attitude and their boys, and now LeGrand with his new legs and his new body and his new spirit and his new attitude. And I'm sure he's really thankful to be alive and to be able to be with his family still.